What up, YouTube? Good morning. Ron Placone here. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron. What up, live me? Good to see everybody. Good to be here. Happy day. Happy day. Right? Huh? Okay. All right. Let's get over to the studio here. I can turn my volume down because we don't have a guest today. We do not have a guest today. Just a normal show. We'll get started once there's 30. Right now we got 13 over on Live Me, 11 over on YouTube. What's up, Sparrows and Crosses? What's up, James? Good morning, Karen. How are you? Good to see you. Happy Friday, everybody. Howdy, howdy, Panderson. Good to see ya. 15 to 17. What's up, CG? (24-19), 25-19. Come on, Live Me, step it up. YouTube's beating you. Hello, Jack. Good afternoon from the UK. You know what's funny, Jack? Me and my girlfriend were looking at tickets for the UK. We're trying to go. We're trying to go over to the UK. I don't know what part of the UK you're in, Jack, but I'm trying to do some tour dates over there very soon. And by very soon, I mean this fall, hopefully in October. So play some of your Revolution song. I'll play it to end. Oh, guys, we made it. Got 37 over on the YouTube. Get your news on with Ron. Just wanna know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Just wanna know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news on with Ron. Just wanna know what's going on. Getting our news on today. What up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, or good afternoon, wherever you guys are. Toronto, I see you. Detroit, Grand Rapids, I see you. Sweden, I see you. Germany, I see you. Good to see everybody. Here where I'm at over on the West Coast, it is morning. It is the AM. And so, guys, today's question is going to be a little different. It's going to be, it may or may not be lighter. I guess it depends on where you guys want to take this. But somebody requested that I do something. Daphne, I don't know if you're here on the stream, but Daphne requested that I do something. Let me pull up the Reddit real quick. That I do something for World Poetry, or excuse me, National Poetry Month. So World Poetry Day is March 21st. So we're late to the party there. But National Poetry Month, as far as the poetry month here in the United States, is actually April. So that's National Poetry Month here in April. So we're talking poetry. I wanted to do something. So what I want to do here, what are your guys' favorite poets? Throw some stuff at me. I'll start. First of all, I want to give a plug to somebody that I believe watches this show pretty regularly. I want to read a poem that was sent to me recently. This poem was sent to me. Oh, None of Your Business points out April is also Jazz Appreciation Month. Well, we're going to have to do that later this month. Maybe next Friday we'll do a jazz day. Because I like jazz. I'm not as knowledgeable on it as I wish I could be. Or I'm sure I could be. I just have to, put in the work. But but anyway, so it's National Poetry Month. We're already getting some good names. David Hildebrandt, which, by the way, David, I wore your shirt to the gym the other day. David Hildebrandt points out Killer Mike. I like that pick. None of Your Business points out Bukowski. I'm a huge Bukowski fan. When I was 20, and discovered Bukowski for the first time, it was like, whoa, mind's blown. David Gregory points out Ginsberg. All right, so because some beat and beat era poets are being pointed out, I'll have to tell my Lawrence Ferlinghetti story. It's not much of a story, but I'll tell it anyway. But first, let me give a plug here. So this is from Carla. And to plug her site, it's thinkveganworld.tumblr.com. And this is from Carla. She sent me this poem at the end of March, and I hope she doesn't mind that I'm reading this and plugging it. But she wrote this poem, and I think it's great. This poem is called "I've Never Been a Russian Bot." All right, here we go. I've never been a Russia bot. I hope to never be one. The Russia scare's a psyop, though, if ever I did see one. McCarthyism's back in style, although it once was busted. The corporate press that lied about Iraq is newly trusted. War profiteers need enemies. A new Red Scare will serve them. The poor will get our endless wars, though they do not deserve them. Fucked up Carla's poem. Our enemies aren't Russian bots or trolls or commie meddlers. Instead, there are war makers and war propaganda peddlers. Boom! What do you guys think of that poem? That poem was by Carla. Please go to her website at thinkveganworld.tumblr.com. Carla, I hope you don't mind. I don't know if you're on the stream today. If you are, please say hello. If you're not, I hope you don't mind that we did this, because you sent me this poem. I think it's really great, and I wanted to share it here for Poetry Month. You like it, Ashley? Edwin likes it. Lady likes it. Leroy likes it. Seems like everybody likes it. CJ put something about... Oh, okay. I will refresh that. Words are nice, but could have gone better in prose. I could have done a better job reading it. I screwed it up at one point, which I do apologize for, you guys. Jordan, you like it? I like it too. Let's see here. Let me refresh the Reddit. Oh yeah, okay. So John Boehner's thing has a little bit of Monsanto going on. We're gonna go there. But first, let me get some more names from you guys. Who are some of your favorite poets? Somebody shared something from Caitlin Johnstone. So let me try to track that down on the timeline here. Dr. Seuss. Somebody points out Dr. Seuss. Edgar Allan Poe. And Montrisha shares this thing by Caitlin Johnstone. I like Caitlin. I think she's a brilliant writer. I'll give this a Get Your News On With Ron retweet. So let's see. If this isn't too long, I'll read it. If it's really long, then I won't. This is Blue Lilacs by Caitlin Johnstone. You arrive at long last after uncountable eons to the Valley of Blue Lilacs. A dragon made of pink roses and old books rises up from the foliage to meet you and asks if you have any weapons. You show it the space in your mind where your armory used to be, now occupied by the hissing static of an old television. You show it how your soft, tender belly takes in the sunlight and the smells and the songbirds. You are gentle, says the dragon. You agree. It licks your nose and transforms into a tiny pink worm and curls up in your pocket around your chapstick. The belly belches yellow birds into the sky and they sing your original name. It is a good name. You'd forgotten it. You sit full lotus on the large mushroom and let your leaf wings unfurl. We are all so small, whispers the worm. You agree. The song of the birds carries to the cheap seats of the universe. That's a really cool poem. Damn, that's a really good poem. She is a good writer. Montrisha, thank you so much for sharing that Caitlin Johnstone poem. That's a great, great poem by her. Very well done. Let's see. Balthazar says sometimes poetry has repetition. So could Peter Dow be considered a poet of failure? We'll save him when we do jazz appreciation, Balthazar, because he made some borderline elevator music that's sort of jazz, right? Marcia points out E.E. Cummings, D.H. Lawrence, Shakespeare, Dorothy Parker, Sylvia Plath, and more. Ron, for music which can be poetic, check out Revolutionary Beat and U.S. History by the 2004 one-album wonder band Flipside. I'm going to take a screenshot of that, Ashley, and we're going to talk about that on 5 Chords and the Truth. Thank you for sharing. Boom. All right. I'm screenshotting that, and that is going to come up on an episode of 5 Chords and the Truth. Zach De La Roca. Someone gives a shout out to Rage Against the Machines. Zach De La Roca. That's a cool choice. I like that. Joe points out that he likes my Fight Club joke. Thank you, Joe. And by the way, your addition to it was very funny as well. I gave it a retweet for you. I hope it gets you some followers. And you guys are saying we should have Caitlin on the show. Holy shit, do I agree. I don't know if Pasta's awake. Pasta likes to sleep, so I don't know if he's awake yet. But if Pasta's awake, you know, hopefully he hears this message, and he'll have to get Caitlin Johnston on the show. So I told you guys, because some people are pointing out Ginsberg, Bukowski, and those era poets. I don't know if anyone said Kerouac, but yeah. So anyway, when the first time I went to San Francisco, I really like a lot of beat era stuff too. I still like it a lot. And I really wanted to go to the Beat Museum. It was my first time going in San Francisco. So of course I was like, oh, Pasta's here, by the way. He just texted me. Pasta's here. Caitlin Johnstone, Pasta. Caitlin Johnstone. So I wanted to go to the Beat Museum, which, by the way, if you're in San Francisco and you like beat poetry and you like that era of literature, definitely go to the Beat Museum. It's brilliant. So I'll share 2 quick stories. I'll tell that story, and then I'll talk about the time I went to V. Vale's house. Or well, actually, it's an apartment. But anyway, I'll move on. First things first. So my first time in San Francisco, this was 2006. I had shoulder-length hair. I had 5 piercings in my face. And I was just this broke college kid seeing the West Coast for the first time. I'd never been out west. I'd just come from Seattle, Washington. I really dug my time up in Seattle so much that I thought, you know what, maybe I'm going to move here at some point. And I ended up moving there later in the year. I lived in Seattle for 3 years. I know some of you guys know that. So I'm in San Francisco. I'm in North Beach. And I'm going to the Beat Museum. And it was so typical North Beach. Now, keep in mind, San Francisco was already going kind of corporate at this point. It was not as corporate as it is now, though. It's really become siliconed out in the past couple years. So this was before all that. This was 2006. Who would have thought we'd be yearning for the good old days in 2006? But anyway, so I'm there. I'm in San Francisco, and I'm going to the Beat Museum. And it was kind of poetic brilliance in a way, because as I was walking across the street to go to the Beat Museum, a museum that celebrates the work of Kerouac and Bukowski, even though Bukowski technically was not a beat. According to people that are still alive from that era, Bukowski was not technically a beat. He was just writing around the same time, and he didn't like those guys. Bukowski did not like those guys. So I'm going, and of course, as I'm walking across the street to the Beat Museum, I get approached by by a prostitute. And she approaches me, and then I'm like, no, thank you. I'm not looking for that. I'm just, trying to do my thing. I got some places to go. And it was just, and I kind of thought, I was just like, man, I'm going to the Beat Museum thinking about Bukowski, and man, I get approached by a woman of the night. I guess that's poetically appropriate, right? And so I go to the museum. It's great. I go to City Lights bookstore, which I ended up spending 3.5 hours in. And who do I see walking down the street but Lawrence Ferlinghetti himself? It was Lawrence Ferlinghetti. Ron, did you say anything? Hell no, I didn't say anything. I was way too shy to say anything. I just waved to him as if to say, I know who the hell you are, and I'm really excited to see you. Will you please wave back? And he did wave back, but that's all that happened. He just waved back to me. Now, fast forward a handful of years later. This is when I still ran the morning show out of Nashville, Tennessee. But I had already moved here to Los Angeles, but I still had the show. It was called Indie Bohemians. We had a nice run, but it was time to retire the show. Now I'm doing this. And so I go and I got V-Vale to do my show. Now, I know some of you may or may not know who V-Vale is. V-Vale is one of the, technically, he is the only Beat member still alive, to my knowledge. He was an employee at City Lights bookstore when he was young. And he was given $100 by Allen Ginsberg. And then Lawrence Ferlinghetti also gave him $100. And they said, start a publisher. So he did, and he started Research Publications. And what was the first thing they published? They published the punk zine Search and Destroy. V-Val was a big punk rocker, still is. So this guy basically was the bridge between beat poetry and the beat generation and the punks. This guy was the bridge between them. I know some of you might not care about this, but I know some of you do, and I'm a big geek about this stuff, so sorry. But so V-Val he did Search and Destroy. He did a couple books with Billy Childish. He did a couple books with Henry Rollins. He did a couple books with who else? Jello Biafra. And I know some of you guys have requested Jello on the show. That's one we're gonna have to work on. I don't know how easy that'll be to get, but I am working on it. So that's who V-Vale is. He agreed to do my show because I was in San Francisco, and he's like, look, just come to my apartment. Just come over. So I show up at his apartment, and he is in the heart of North Beach. He had to have been grandfathered into this apartment. He was like right across the street from City Lights. I'm sure that apartment goes for like, I can't even imagine what it would go for if it was out today. I mean, I'm sure probably at least $3,000, $4,000, I would think. But he's been there since however long. He's been there since the 60s, I'm pretty sure, or 70s. So I go to his apartment. His apartment is covered in books, and his books. And they're covered in the Pranks books, which if you haven't, go to researchpubs.com. I'm pretty sure that's the website. Here, you know what? Let me get the exact website for you guys, because I want to make sure that I plug I want to make sure I plug it properly. Yeah, researchpubs.com. That's the website. It's researchpubs.com. So it's a great resource. And anyway. So it's covered in books, V-Vale's place, covered in books. And V-Vale, he sees me walk in. This is an OG guy. And the first thing he says to me is he goes, hey, man, would you mind signing my guest book? Everybody that's ever been in here has signed my guest book. Just open it up. Just open it up to the nearest page and sign your information. So I open it up, and I see every name you guys could think of. I see Jack Kerouac. I see Henry Rollins. I see Billy Childish. I see Jello. I see, oh man, who else did I? Ken Kesey. Ken freaking Kesey. And this was them. Like this dude was part of all that. So this was them. Neil Cassidy. So, and these are all them. These are all them. So you see this hall of fame of cultural bohemians. And then you see Ron Placone. You see my goofy name. At the time, I wasn't even living out west. I was still living in Nashville, and I was just touring. So I wrote my Nashville address, a condo that I used to own, don't own anymore, and I'm in that freaking guest book, and I see his guest book is its own beat museum. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So I see this guest book, and I do the interview with him, and we have a really fun interview. And then he starts showing me around. At the time, I was seeing this girl who I'm no longer seeing. But I did not write Howdy Howdy. This was before all that. This was before the Jimmy Dore show. This was before, well, not before the Jimmy Dore show. The Jimmy Dore show was going on, but I was not part of it. This was before I was part of the Jimmy Dore show. This would have been like 2015. Henry Rollins would come. I hope so. I've tried reaching out to Henry Rollins in the past for other things, and I've never heard back from him. But I will try again, and I will try to get Henry on this show. Absolutely. So, so anyway, to close out this story, I'm there, and he starts showing me other stuff because I say, "Hey, I'm starting to see this girl. We've only been dating a little bit, but she has a birthday coming up. What's something that'll impress her? And would you be willing to sign it?" He starts showing me this stuff. He has all these limited edition things that he published. He has literally the first edition of Search and Destroy in his house, but he doesn't know how to use eBay or anything like that. So he's like, "Yeah, I sell this for $300, and I just kind of offer it to my friends." And I'm like, these are people that know you. This isn't. If you put this on eBay or something like that, you could probably get a couple grand for this. That was what I was thinking. But I was like, dude, and I told him that. I'm like, if you put some of this stuff, he has a literature museum in his house, but he doesn't want to do anything with it. He just offers it to his friends, and he asks for like $300, which I'm sure he could get at least twice that. At least, I'm thinking at least $1,000 for some of the stuff this guy just has sitting around his house. I mean, I almost offered. I almost was like, dude, I'll come spend a couple weeks here, and I'll help you sell this stuff and just give me like a reasonable cut of it so that I'm getting compensated for my time or whatever. Because he could, I mean, he's sitting on a gold mine. I mean, I guess he's doing okay. He doesn't need the money. But anyway, and he was telling me, so this is $300. This is $300. This is like literally the only edition of this left. I'm asking $600 for this. And I said, I have $17 in my pocket. That's what I have in my pocket, V. I got $17. What's something you can give me for $17? He hands me an edition of Pranks. And he goes, here's an edition of Pranks. This is one of my favorite books that I did. If she doesn't like this book, she's not worth dating. That's what he said to me. And then he signed it. Things with me and that girl did not work out at all. But she did appreciate that edition of Pranks. I think so. Seek and Destroy is in my wheelhouse. Learned to play that about 3 weeks after it came out. That's awesome. Leroy requests John F. O'Donnell. I like John. I like John a lot. We're buddies. And yeah, I should reach out to him to do this show. All right. So thank you for the poems, everybody. Thank you for sending this in, Carla. And again, guys, check out Carla's work at thinkveganworld.tumblr.com. Check out Caitlin Johnstone's work at caitlinjohnstone.com. They're all very brilliant. And let's move on to some articles, shall we? Let's move on to some articles. Somebody brought up the Reddit thing first, so we'll go there first. You guys have sent in a lot of stuff. We're going to get to it. This is from Voodoo Baby. John Boehner with Monsanto and Bayer has a change of heart on marijuana. We've all heard about this. The marijuana industry's newest spokesman, former House Speaker John Boehner. The U.S. marijuana industry has a new spokesman, John Boehner. So we all know John Boehner. He's cool with pot now because he has the financial incentive to be cool with pot. Kimmy says, did I ask for poetry submissions? No, not really. I just tweeted a little bit before the show started, I tweeted that we were going to talk about National Poetry Month / World Poetry Day, and shout out your favorite poets. So 64% of Americans, including a majority of Republicans and Democrats, want to legalize marijuana. And Boehner is now, all right, so let's see. You guys know about Boehner at this point. What I'm curious about, where is Monsanto in all this? And I'm really scrolling this article for Monsanto. I see nothing about the connection to Monsanto in this article. This is about how public opinion favors legalized pot, which we already know that. This is about how John Boehner has, quote unquote, evolved on it. Why? Because of money, 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 money. But where is the connection to Monsanto? That's what I'm looking for, and this article does not offer anything on it. It does offer an annoying pop-up ad. Okay, so Monsanto legal pot. Let's Google that, see if that wields something better. Let's see here. So here's something else from Zacks.com. So Monsanto is having higher stock moves. Monsanto was a big mover last session as the company saw its shares rise more than 6%. The move came on solid volume too, with far more shares changing hands in a normal season. Why is it doing this? Because they're trying to get into legal pot. The booming investment opportunities of legal marijuana. But what exactly are they trying to do in it? That article also doesn't answer that question. DC, I'll turn it to you. What exactly is Monsanto going to do in regards to legal pot? Are they just looking to invest in it, or are they looking to get into the creation of it? Meaning they'll try to, here we go. Oh, here we go. You already sent an article. All right, this is from Business Insider. John Boehner is joining the board of a marijuana company, and an analyst is calling it a monumental event. He joined Acreage Holdings. So they own marijuana cultivation facilities and dispensaries. Jeff Sessions opposed it, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what we know so far, and is Acreage Holdings connected to Monsanto? All right, I'm on their website. Founded in 2014. And this is a Wall Street front, by the way. Acreage Holdings is a Wall Street front, so this is a big money grab. They have a pot leaf on their website, but this is a Wall Street front, you guys. So in some ways, is it cool that John Boehner is cool with legal pot now? Yeah, that's cool. The other side of it is that now big business is really going to get in, this is what we've been scared of from the first place. We've been scared of this since day one. And now we know that Monsanto is looking to invest. I've not seen anything better than they're looking to invest. Monsanto and Bayer share information about genetically modifying crops. So Monsanto is already making, we can assume that they're already making GMO seeds. Bayer partners with GW Pharmaceuticals, which grows its own proprietary marijuana genetics. It's logical to conclude that Monsanto and Bayer want to create GMO marijuana. All right, so there we go. That's what we're dealing with, which is something that we all kind of assumed. So I guess now what we have to do is we have to do our homework and make sure we avoid that pot. Although if it's anything like what happened with vegetables, they're going to spread their seed, no pun intended, so far and so vast that you're never really going to know when it's going to seep in. You know what I mean? Like even organic farmers and stuff like that, because the seeds are so vast and so widespread, you never know for sure that you're not getting a little bit of GMO seepage. It's hard to really know. I mean, obviously, if you support a totally local farm that kind of does all their own cultivating, it's not impossible to avoid. But sometimes it can be very hard to avoid. And that's what we're dealing with. And that's what we're going to deal with when it comes to pot. According to Big Buds magazine, Monsanto and Scott's Miracle Grow have a deep business partnership and plan on taking over the cannabis industry. And I don't know what we can do to stop it. I mean, and that's why whenever there's further deregulation of pot, you face a catch-22, because it's great that now this isn't another vehicle to throw people in jail that shouldn't be there. It's good that innocent people aren't going to go to prison anymore for at least for pot offenses. So it's that's a good thing. The other side of it is now big business is going to come in and ruin something. I think the best thing that we can do, so far, we still have legislation in most states that have legal pot that you can have so many plants for personal and or medicinal use, or at least medicinal use. So I say the best thing to do is just stick with your local growers. Just stick with your local growers. Stick with your neighbor that's got the plants. Stick with them. And then if we don't give any propriety to the big companies that Monsanto and stuff is getting into, then we're taking away their financial incentive. So go local. I mean, it's harder to do that with farming, because it's not like your neighbor has a farm that can sustain your food needs. But with pot, that's a lot easier. If your buddy down the road has 12 plants or so, or you grow your own, James pointing this out. Agreed, Ron, stick with local growers. So yeah, with our vegetable needs, that's harder to do. I live in Los Angeles. I don't know many people that have farms that could sustain my needs as a consumer. But I have plenty of friends that can sustain my pot needs. So that's what we got to do. We got to stick local. So let's stick local. I will make the pledge right now. I will only buy from local people that I trust from now on. I don't have to go to the dispensaries anymore. Especially some of the ones that are already there's some near me that already seem a little corporate. I don't have to go there anymore. They have some products that I like. They had some products that I liked, but I'll stick local. I don't mind it. I'll pledge right now. I'm going to do that. DC, I'm looking at you. DC, I'm counting on you. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do, and I encourage you all to do the same, and that's how we're going to fight this thing. Because Monsanto, you ain't going to ruin my pot for me. You ain't going to do it. Monsanto, you're evil enough. You ain't ruining my pot. Pasta tweeted something. I think Pasta tweeted something just to prove to me he's awake. He's like, yeah, you're calling me out for being asleep. I'll show you. But, oh, by the way... All right, we're going to do a quick one. I'm jumping around the timeline. I'm going to do as much as I can. Kimmy asks, what about local apothecaries? Yeah, that's good. Jesse, what's up? Good to see you. Real quick, I don't know if you guys saw this. This was trending on Twitter. But one of the trends on Twitter was hashtag #NeolibaMovie. And Sebastian shares this. This is from Bad John Brown. Hashtag #NeolibaMovie. Honey, I blew the election. Wreck-It Wasserman, also from Bad John Brown. Democratatouille. Bill and Hillary's centrist adventure. Those are some good ones, Bad John Brown. And that's at Twitter Bad John Brown. Here's some of the ones I did for that real quick before we move on here. I did, let's see here. Where were mine? The first rule of Fight Club is there's a public Fight Club and a private Fight Club. Hashtag NeoLiveAMovie. And hashtag NeoLiveAMovie. Saving Private Ryan because we'll need him for 4 more Middle East tours. So there you go. Those were mine. I only thought of those 2. I could have, I should have thought of more. All right, you guys have tweeted a lot of articles, so let me try to get to it. All right, let's see. I'm just trying to get to the right place. I appreciate your guys' patience. This is from Edwin. I'm just going to try to start at the beginning, and if I miss anybody, which I know I will, I apologize. But we're going to start with Edwin. Jeremy Corbyn. Syria chemical attack. Jeremy Corbyn accuses Theresa May of waiting for instructions from Donald Trump. You know what I say about Theresa May? Theresa May loves Donald Trump so much that her new slogan is grab him by the fanny. Huh? Come on. Come on. UK folks, was that, you like that? Was that funny? I don't know. All right. Sorry. Okay. Moving on. Huh? I'll let myself out. Right? Huh? All right. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Jeremy Corbyn. Labor leader Jeremy Corbyn has accused PM Theresa May of waiting for instructions from U.S. President Donald Trump on how to respond to the use of chemical weapons in Syria. Mr. Corbyn also called for an independent UN-led inquiry into the devastating airstrike in Douma last Saturday that killed a reported 75 civilians and injured 500 more, presumed to have been created out by the Belarus or al-Assad. Yeah, we know all that. Blah, 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 blah. So here's what he said. The government appears to be waiting for instructions from President Donald Trump on how to proceed, but the U.S. administration is giving alarmingly contradictory signals. To bomb or not to bomb? That is the question. Here's an idea. Not. Oh, Jeremy Corbyn. Like I've been saying this week, and I've said it on the Jimmy Dore show. I've said it on this show. It should have been a headline everywhere this week that a world superpower, the United States, was going to bomb a place without even an investigation. Not even a fake one. Not even a fake investigation. Not even lip service. No investigation whatsoever. Okay? We can't do that. You can't do that. So hopefully the instructions that Theresa May gets, and it's, I don't like the fact that the UK is going along with us when it comes to this, and when it comes to Syria, and when it comes to Russiagate. Even they're getting their own dose of Russiagate. We know for sure that this spy was poisoned by Russia, even though it doesn't really make sense for Russia to do it. We know for sure that's who it was, and now we're expelling diplomats and we're attacking an independent media bureau. Makes a lot of sense. Who said they are censoring super chat, so I'm not going crazy? Mate, I have so many screenshots. Just thank you for making me feel less crazy. You're welcome, Platypus, and thank you very much for the super chat contribution. Hi, I'm in the UK. People are awake here. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I appreciate that, and I certainly appreciate Jeremy Corbyn very much, and he's been the voice of reason as far as those in power go. He's saying, hey, let's not act until we have an investigation when it comes to this spy poisoning. Also, same with Syria. Let's not act until we know what's going on, until we have an investigation. And why are we just being America's henchmen, so to speak? And people are smearing Jeremy Corbyn for it. I'm sure they're going to smear Jeremy Corbyn more for saying this. But in the meantime, Edwin, thank you for sharing this. Uppity Bumpkin sends this. And some of you guys have sent similar articles to this one. So we'll go with this one, and then I'll skip around. I'll do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight. Right? Huh? We're doing that. Congress is giving Trump more war powers. Why? This is from Ross Story. This article, okay, all right, we don't need to know. After years of more talk than action in Congress, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee is poised to consider a new authorization for the use of military force that will replace the 2001 and 2002 war authorizations that have been in effect for more than a decade and a half. The following, the AUMF debate over the years know all too well that in 2001 and 2002 authorizations have been stretched. So basically, that was when they gave George Bush this authorization to essentially do whatever he wanted, to order an executive strike and all that stuff. That's been going on. What is it? So what I'm looking for in this article is we all know that that's happening. How is this expanding now to more war powers for Trump? You know, the crazy thing is that Adam Schiff, of all people, who I'm not a fan of, but Adam Schiff actually had some proposed legislation to combat this. Now, he had that legislation for the wrong reasons. He didn't have that legislation because he recognizes that a president should not have that kind of authority and that aids the economy of war in a way that it should not. He did that because he hates Trump. I mean, Adam Schiff has become a parody of himself. If you wake him up from a cold, dead sleep, he'll probably just say, Russia, 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 Trump's bad, and then wake up. He's trying to be a comedian, and I can tell you guys, as a comedian myself, the most annoying people in the world, in the world, in the world, in the world, in the world are wannabe comedians. They are the most annoying people in the world. The only people more annoying in the world than comedians themselves are wannabe comedians. I'm saying this as a comedian. So I'm being self-deprecated. So, all right, what I'm looking for in this article is where are they? All right, so what has enabled this kind of distortion of Congress's intent is the lack of an expiration date. So they're basically not doing anything about this. They're letting it go, and they've already expanded his spying powers via the FISA Act. And as somebody Bumpkin points out, they're not doing anything to slow this down. So despite these hard lessons over 17 years of expanding war, this is back to the article, and eroding congressional control over a power assigned it to the Constitution, Bob Corker announced earlier this week he plans to release the text of his proposed new war authorization tomorrow. But we already have a pretty good sense, based on what's been reported for months, that his proposal will not only sanction the executive branch's 17 years of unilateral expansions, it will provide no new constraints. That's a shame, because Corker's actually been one of the few that's been more on the non-interventionist side of the coin, hasn't he? Hasn't Corker been more non-interventionist compared to other? I mean, he's kind of usually been sitting with Ron Paul in that regard. So that's a shame that now he's when push comes to shove, he's just going to expand Trump's power allegedly. Trump has no clue what his powers are. He only ran because the Clintons asked him to. How bizarre is that when you stop and think about it? Can America just stop, please? I wish. I really want, man. I really want that to happen. So Nellie's suggesting they're giving Trump more power that they can use. No, if it's just an executive strike by the president, that's all right. So here's what's apparently going on in this bill. As the bullet notes, the idea behind Corker's proposal is to sanction the use of force against all groups that the executive branch has already started using force against, with no operational limits. Cede Congress's power to decide whether military force is warranted against new groups in the future to the president, but provide a fig leaf of congressional involvement. So the president's required to let Congress know when he gives himself authority to go to war with new groups. He's got to let them know. Hey, we're bombing a new country. Don't worry, I texted Corker. I tweeted and I tagged Congress. Wow, this is heavy-hitting legislation. Way to go, Bob Corker. Way to go. This gives Congress the opportunity to weigh in by providing expedited procedures to vote down the president's decision. But of course, any such vote would have to pass with a veto-proof majority to stop these expansions. Authorize the use of military force with no geographic constraints. Oh, hey, we can go anywhere we want. We can go anywhere we want. Who knows? Even in our own country. All right, so it looks like this bill is just kind of a whole lot of, yeah, don't worry, the president can still do what the president wants, and this is a continuation of 2001, 2002, which never should have happened in the first place, but it did. Why? Because 9/11 scared people, and the Bush administration used that to really pad the pockets of a war machine in a way that was over-amplified, even in comparison to the first time. Because they gave the president even more power than his dad had during the first Gulf War. And people let it happen. And the Democrats voted for it and the Republicans voted for it. And now they're doing the same thing. They're not even resisting Trump. They're not even resisting Trump. David Hildebrand for Senate has a couple neoliberal movies of his own. Brokeback Leadership, The Farce Reawakens, Revenge of the Schiff. Oh, Adam Schiff. Is somebody primarying that guy? Can somebody please primary? Somebody please primary Adam Schiff. I cannot stand that dude. And he actually did something right. Again, he did it on accident. But he actually had a bill out there to take that power away from the president. And nobody ever talked about it because Russia. Now, again, he didn't do that because he's being a responsible leader. He did that because he hates Trump that much. All right. And I'm trying to, we got 15 minutes left. And we got a lot of articles to get through. We got a couple really depressing ones, but let me try to stay in order. Pasta is announcing his own 2020 run. Pasta, are you going to run against Adam Schiff? Should. I will. I mean, you definitely got one vote. I'm voting for you. Is it Pasta? Are you announcing your run? All right. So let me get to the next article here. Sorry for the slow scrolling today. But it's Friday. We're all a little relaxed. We're all just chillaxing, being cool, chilling out max. This is from Marcus. Yes, Pasta's running in 2020, you guys. Pasta is running. Jesse points out that Lucy should run too. All right, so this is I think Marcus shared this as part of the poem thing. This is by Colin Kaepernick for Love of the Game. All right. So, and this wasn't by Colin Kaepernick. This is by Tarak Toure. Yes, sir, coach. Yes, sir, coach. Yes, sir, coach. Yes, sir, coach. I throws the ball, coach. I runs the ball, coach. I catches the ball, coach. I knows the ball, coach. I holds the balls, coach. I controls the ball, coach. But you owns the ball, coach? Question mark. And this here field, and then there stands, and that there jumbotron, and then there fans. And oh my lord, my fans, you ain't gotta ask. Just last week, I signed a grown man's forehead in the palms of his newborn's hands. Oh boy, they love me. Oh, my grandma's grave, they surely do. You know, a bullet be the only thing keeping this game from me and you. It's a powerful poem by Tarak Toure. I just retweeted it. Thank you, Marcus. Sorry that we got that late. People are saying Lucy Pasta 2020, by the way. Pasta has announced that Lucy will be his running mate. Thank you for sharing that, Marcus. Sorry that it is out of order, but you know how the timeline gets thrown up fast. This is from Sean. I'm going to get to as many stories as we can today, guys, but I'm going in order. We're not going to get to all of them. New report. Under Richard Cordray's mismanagement, CFPB hacked hundreds of items. New revelations about the DC bureaucrat Richard Cordray's scandal plagued tenure as head of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, raising new questions for his struggling Ohio gubernatorial campaign. It was revealed recently the CFPB was struck by at least 240 confirmed cyber attacks and another 800 suspended hacks. Like a true establishment folk, did he fall for a phishing scam? So this jeopardized mortgage information, social security numbers. His agency had faced questions for his practice of collecting credit card transactions, home loan applications, and other financial data on a large scale. Now it appears all of the information they have collected is subject to being obtained by a malicious third party. He was spending hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars on luxurious renovations to the CFPB's headquarters and funneling lucrative federal contract money to his future campaign. So this guy is another predatory loan guy. This guy is a loan guy. That's who this guy is. He's a corporatist loan shark plutocrat, similar to your Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And he's not even keeping the information safe. And guess who's running against him? Dennis Kucinich. Dennis Kucinich. Winkle points out the CFPB has turned it into a corporate protectorate. And he's absolutely freaking right. Winkle's absolutely right. So, guys, support Dennis Kucinich. You know, it's not often I straight up endorse somebody right away and immediately. But Dennis Kucinich is somebody I endorse him 110%. We need a Kucinich. And someone points out Kenneth Mejia is running. Carrie points out Kenneth Mejia is running. Kenneth Mejia is going to be on this show very soon. Very soon we're going to have Kenneth Mejia. So this is from Lay. Oh, wait, no, this is from Darius. We'll go to Darius first. Sorry, I'm trying to go in order here. We got a couple. This is a very sad story. A nearly 2,000-year-old temple in Palmyra was just destroyed by ISIS. This was built in the 6th century when Bamiyan was a holy Buddhist site. In 629 AD, Chinese traveler Zheng Heng described Bamiyan as a bustling center with tens of thousands of monks. The two most prominent statues were 55 meters and 37 meters high. Bodies were carved out of sandstone cliff. And this was demolished in March of 2001 after being declared idols. And this is the apparently this is the anniversary of that happening. Well, that's I'm really sorry to hear that. Thanks for sharing that piece of history. That is a very tragic event, and you know what else is a tragic event is is my pronunciation. My pronunciation. That's really unfortunate. Thanks for sharing that, though. It's important that we, we keep track of that kind of history. This is from Lay, and this is how we're going to close out, you guys. And it looks like this is another pretty tragic story. So we're going to close on the Revolution song to kind of do something a little more. A physics teacher is facing a death sentence in Egypt and being detained outside of his New Jersey home. Okay. A physics teacher in Hudson County is facing possible deportation to Egypt, where a military court sentenced him to death in 2016. This case was maligned by a prominent human rights watchdog. Okay, I know nothing about this. This is my first time seeing anything about this. Ahmed Adbel Bassett, I probably butchered the shit out of that pronunciation. I'm sorry. But again, I'm seeing all this for the first time, doing the best I can. He's 33 years old. He was detained outside his home in Jersey City last week by ICE officials. He's being held at the Elizabeth Detention Center on administrative immigration charges. He's a teacher at Writing Star Academy, an Islamic private school in Union City. He came to the United States in 2016 seeking asylum. A former doctoral candidate and physics professor at the University of Cairo, he was expelled from the institution after organizing peaceful protests of a military coup to remove former President Mohamed Morsi, as well as and human rights violations by security forces. He left the country and got a job. He was peaceful these were peaceful protests. He left the country and got a job at Qatar University, but in May 2016, an Egyptian military court sentenced him to death in absentee after he and 27 others were convicted of terrorism charges. Human Rights Watch wrote that the military trial denied the men basic due process. Yeah, they didn't get to stand trial. Of course, that's denying them basic due process. And how are peaceful protests terrorism? Isn't that supposed to be what America's all about? Project Red Point points out. Aw, Platypus, thank you so much for the super chat contribution. Buy yourself something nice, Ron, my boy. Don't spend it all in one place. Thank you very much for the super chat contribution. I appreciate that very much. Wow, this is getting back to this story here. This is really screwed up. I hope that the United States offers him asylum. I mean, that's really all I can say about this. It seems like he was organizing peaceful protests, which is certainly not terrorism. It's about as far from terrorism as you can get. Seems like he was protesting something worth protesting. He is a teacher and an academic. And I hope that the United States grants him asylum. We'll see if they do. You know, whenever the Mick Resistance sees a good photo op, we care about these types of issues. We care about refugees, and we care about people that need our help around the world. We never really look at the sources that causes them to be refugees in the first place. We never look at that. That disrupts the apple cart too much. But, when there's something sexy like a protest at an airport, not saying those causes aren't important, they are. But a lot of people fail to see the big picture, I think. I hope the U.S. gives him asylum. We'll see what happens there. And to end on a brighter note, we make it our job to try to see the big picture here at Get Your News On with Ron. And I thank you guys for being part of this. Guys, we are out of time. Happy Friday. We do this every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be back Tuesday. I know we had to miss last Tuesday. If there's any news, I will tell you guys before Tuesday. But as of right now, we're on from normal time, Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we got, I believe Kenneth Mejia is coming up next week. Kenneth Mejia is the guest next week. And thank you guys very much for being part of this. Help me get to my second goal, guys. My second goal is expanding my studio here. It is expanding the episodes to make them longer so that we can get, we only got to about half the articles you guys sent in. I want to get a monitor behind me. I want to get better lighting. I want to get better audio. I need your guys' help. Please, patreon.com/Ron Placone for any level you want to give at. I know Patreon tells you, like, because of the settings, it tells you have to give $5 or you don't get the content. That's not true. You can give it any level you're comfortable with. It can be $1 a month. It can be more than that. Yeah. So you give it any level you're comfortable with, you get all the same content. What else do you get? You get free tickets to any of my shows. My shows. Got to be my show. But free tickets to that show. That includes the tour I'm going on with Graham Elwood. So that's a thing. You're also going to get my album delivered to your inbox. We're editing the album now. So it's going to be fun. So if you are so able, patreon.com/Ron Placone. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone, ronplacone.com. You guys know the drill. I'll send you out with the Revolution song. What? Hopefully Nick Rana makes the theme. I sent it to you guys. Oh yeah, and I'll be on Uphill Media at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Sunday. And I'll retweet that. Doing the same things, expecting differences. What it needs to be insane. How to choose between more and more is not what it needs to play the game. How does it put your mind at ease to ignore this big disease? Why do you like to sit and pretend when you always know the end? Go tell the BBC, go tell the CIA. It's time for revolution. Go tell the DSA, GPNSA. It's time for revolution. Going to a single front. It's not what it means to compromise. Somehow it's strange and rhetoric. I just call it telling lies. But when you reach a point of crisis, the status quo it needs to change. And if you can't understand that truth, well, it's time to get out of the way. Go tell the BBC, go tell the CIA. It's time for revolution. Go tell the NSA. Stop listening to what we say. It's time for revolution. So get your news on Ron. Wanna know what's going on? It's not news on today. Get your news on Ron. Wanna know what's going on? So they don't start World War III. Tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together every day. Getting our news on today. Thank you so much. This has been Get Your News On With Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. I know we're having a problem with the audio clipping on the stream on YouTube. I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure that out. I got to get that figured out. That's going to be my project for the weekend. I will be back on Tuesday. I will see you guys then, Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Lie me, folks. I'm going to play a couple tunes because I'm in the mood, so I'm going to play a tune before I log out here. But I can't do that on YouTube because of copyright issues. So YouTube, see you on Tuesday.